Hello, Pearl class. This video is about the assignment for regular expression 2 weeks. This exercise is a typical script trying to make sense of some aspect of a log file. Be aware that any employer asking for in Perl interviews will ask something about that. This is a typical job for Perl. Okay, here's the mission: catch bad user.pl. Help! Bad users are prowling the system. I don't know about your system, but I get at least 2 or 3 attackers a day. They just it's a robot trying to log on as root or another user by guessing the username and password. And these attacks, at least in my system, last between 5 and 20 minutes. They used to be a lot longer, but right now that's the way it is. I'm kind of lucky about that. A program skeleton has been drawn out to catch these little varmints in hope to do something about them. The problem is, whoever wrote the module had a mean streak of their own because they left out crucial regular expressions out. Also, important comments explaining the purpose of certain expressions and variables are missing, so that we can't figure out exactly how the program does what it does. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to restore the missing parts. First of all, before we look at this code here, which you get to start from, let's look at some of those log files. The following link is an example of the last several lines of a var logs messages. This is the actual path to this log file. Since you don't have access to the actual message file, you have a you can use this test document. This message file keeps track of everybody logging in and out successfully and unsuccessfully. There's 2 of these. Sometimes these IP addresses will be saved with dots. Sometimes they will be saved with dashes. So here's the difference between these 2, so your program can work either way and recognize these different formats for IP addresses. Okay, let's take a look. Oops, no, that's not the one. We want to look at one of these logs. You can see the date, the time, 23 hours, 37 minutes, 48 seconds. Somebody logged in right here. Somebody else logged in over there without any problem, about a few minutes apart. But now we have an authentication failure. So this is a sign. Of course, it could be just a regular user, but this one you can see same IP address here, 415.89, all the way through here. Here they're trying to get in as root, and here it doesn't show. Sometimes these logs show the user that they try to log in as, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure why. But the interesting part about this is to look at the time. So, and specifically the seconds. Here's somebody trying to log in as root, 52 minutes and 9 seconds. And 9 seconds later, it's trying again. Here it's 7 seconds later, and 7 seconds later, and so forth. So, on the average, between 7 seconds, these robots are able to log in again. So our job to recognize these basically is, first of all, if there is an authentication failure, let's follow that IP address, right? It could be just a user with an authentication failure, in which case that same user will most likely not try within 7 seconds. So the job seems fairly simple, is to follow authentication failures with the same IP address, right? Same consecutive IP address here, and within a certain time range. And we'll just say if somebody tries at least 5 times, fails, same IP address within 7 seconds each, or less than 10 seconds, then we know it's somebody who shouldn't be there. And at that point, your program should send you, the administrator, an email message just to let you know. And this program, at least on my system, I have one of those because we did this in class a couple years ago. Mine is just set up on the cron to run every 5 minutes. So it just simply looks at the last 20 lines of this file here, and that's all we need. Just every 5 minutes, take a look at the last 20 or so records, and that's all you need. Okay, now let's take a look at the code itself. First, you're going to rename this file catchbaduser.pl. Right now it's called catchbaduser_unfinished, but you should start with this, recommended. Complete all necessary regular expressions in place of the ... and same thing with comments. You'll notice we have comments in here. I would like everybody to, once you understand how this code works, you should be you will know what these variables are for exactly, and you can explain that right here. Here's a regular expression looking for authentication failure. Well, that one is already done, so but you can still explain it. There is another. Okay, so here's a function called goodDate. It's actually one of the first things that you'll have to do. And yes, your program could recognize this date or break down this line here using a split, right? You could use a split on tabs or spaces, but for the sake of this exercise, of course, we're going to ask you to find this date using regular expression, and you're going to find the the IP address the same way, using a regular expression, right? It's fairly easy to do, right? You'll expect at least 5 periods here, or 4 periods. These numbers will have to be 1 to 3 digits, and so forth. And there may be other important places that you want to use in your regular expressions, such as rost equal. That's a good clue that you're going to find, I believe, everywhere. Okay. So the first job is going to be to finish the grab date. Now you're going to grab the date, and this is your job right here, to put in the right regular expression which will give us a date. And from there, of course, from that number, you'll have to, this pretty much calculates the minutes and the seconds already, and puts the date together and returns the date. There is a good date here. Notice the shift. Why is that? Because we're turning in a date and the variable called old date, and you'll have to figure out what that means, of course, once you look at this program and try to understand it. Grab IP, same thing here. This one starts with rost equal, and then you can finish it. This is just to help out, but you're welcome to do anything you want here, of course. Now everybody is required to do this part of the program at least. Your program should be able to look at the last 20 lines of this log file, and it should look line by line and come up with the right algorithm and regular expressions to compare the dates, meaning the seconds. Make sure that these are not by intervals. They are within 10 seconds. And here we have this constant of 5, meaning if we have at least 5 of those consecutively within 10 seconds, then we know we have a bad IP login. What else? So this is 9 points, okay, for all of that. And for the last point, which is not that much more difficult, I'd like you to record these bad IP addresses to file and go ahead and send the email. We've already done this. It's no big deal. Now, in order to compensate for all this, we're going to run the file with go ahead and give us the name of the file after the name of the program. Okay, that will be the parameter, and we'll catch that parameter here so you know which log file you have to work with, since we have a couple. And as a matter of fact, there's one more that that was given out in the discussion board the other day. So you have messages 2, and actually messages 3, which has no authentication failures in it, so you can test your program in case there is no problem. Okay, I believe that should explain everything. So just be sure you understand this program already runs without any errors at this point, but of course, because it doesn't recognize the date, there's nothing that can happen, right? And it certainly does not recognize the IP. Okay, thank you very much.